IG or your Facebook if people are waiting on it as soon as it populates. Give me a second.
Got it.
It's a new laptop, so it's taking its own sweet time. All right.
What?
There we go. And put this in the chat for you. All right, there we go. Well, welcome to another First Sunday with the Black Poet Laureates. I'm going to be your host tonight, and my name is Rhea Carmen. Everybody calls me Rhea Sunshine. Tonight, I am joined by three gentlemen from literally all over the country. We're going from Connecticut all the way down the east side to Tennessee, all the way across to the west side to California. So I'm super excited to talk to these gentlemen and have a great time. So if you are watching on YouTube, please feel free to ask questions or make comments. I will definitely share those throughout the day. So here we go. Let me see. All right. I'm trying to make sure I got both screens up so I can see everything. I'm not used to this computer, y'all. Bear with me just a second. There we go. All right. All right. Well, let's get it popping in here. I have my first question is just how do you use your culture in the poetry that you're writing? And then how do you use that to inform or affect your city?
I guess I'll go first. So you want to know how I use my culture, um, how I use my art within the culture. I use my art for in a number of ways to educate, to advocate for a number of different situations. Everything from providing shows to mentoring young men. I use my art in a form to engage young men who may not want to hear what someone older has to say. But when I show them I have some lyrical skills and I understand what they're talking about, they're more apt to talk to me and engage into me, and then I can fill them in with that. Um, I also use it in the form of providing entertainment for my people in my city. Um, uh, as far as poetry shows are concerned. I do a couple shows every year. I'm about to turn it into three because I'm formulating a third show. The first show is called Lyrical Haven that we do here in New Haven, and it's a fuse of R&B and poetry where we have R&B artists, poets that perform with a live band, like a grown and sexy night, wine tasting, what do you call those things? I never say it right. Charcuterie boards, whatever you call them. I don't never say it right.
Charcuterie board. Man,
Yeah. See. So yeah, we have all that type of stuff. And then we have the big underground poetry slam, $1,500, $2,000 poetry slam that we have every year. And I'm about to add a third one for the culture here in New Haven, and it's going to be called Roots to Lyrics. My wife is a licensed cosmetologist and also does locks. So we're going to create a fashion show that is fused with poetry in the form of we pick three black hair salons that are doing locks, and we pair them with a poet, and they come up with a theme. So instead of normally um, you see a DJ rocking as they're walking the runway, you'll hear a poet um, walking the runway with them, performing poetry and them styling and creating and with the hairstyles that were themed out by these hair artists as well as the spoken word artists. So I try to do all those things and going into schools and different stuff like that, all those things to push the education forward of poetry and literacy.
Yeah, that's fire, man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I absolutely love that. I one of the poets in our collective is a hairstylist, and she's always trying to figure out like how do I mash these two things together, like the poetry and how much I love styling hair. So I love that. That makes my heart happy. We need to come up to Connecticut so she can see.
we making things happen. Y'all need to come down here for real.
I see. I see. I ain't know Connecticut was cutting up like that.
Listen, man, being a slam poet and traveling, especially doing a lot in the South and stuff like that, man, let me tell you, you don't know how many times I've heard it's black folks in Connecticut. Lord have mercy. It is a whole bunch of
Nah,
black
I just
folks in
said that.
Connecticut. We here, we are creating art, we are creating business, we are creating love, and we're creating a chocolate city within cities within this state. So we are here and we want everybody to come through and vibe out with us.
I love that. What about you other two gentlemen? What are you doing in your city to kind of promote your culture and bring it into your poetry into your city?
Okay, so in the city that I'm in now, which is Bakersfield, California, poetry is it's not quite happening right now. So my mission as laureate is to um, build it and to start with the youth and build it up because a lot of the poets that are here are my age, 60 plus. So we need the younger people to in order for it to grow. So you got to plant the seed, nourish it, and then have it grow from there. So that's going to bring poetry. I know that the art council here said, "Oh, we want spoken word," and so I said, "Okay, that's fine." But most of these kids will not be spoken word artists. They may be just poets. They may just be writers. They may never perform, but they will write. So don't block them out because you just want spoken word artists. I mean, spoken word is great. To me, that's two different things, poetry and spoken word. A lot of artists will say it is and it's not, but just my thought. And so here in my city, I want to build poetry, so I'm planting those seeds in the elementary schools, the middle schools, and the high schools, and we're just going to grow it from there. So that's one of my missions. So, but because of what I love to write the most is about love. That's the culture that I reach out for. To me, that is, it's like when you see the sign says 21 and over. That's the crowd I want to be performing in front of. But I can also teach poetry to the youth, just about writing about anything about life, basically. Yeah.
It's real. Well, yeah, I could definitely jump in, man. Definitely nice to be on here with y'all. Um, Me personally, I'm trying to use poetry to take over the world. I'm gonna just be real, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to I'm just trying to take over real quick. Nah, I'm messing. Man, really, I feel like a lot of my poetry is, about just history. I found myself to really be a historian since I've been doing poetry. So I really like love going back and finding old gems and like really retelling those stories through poetry. So and then definitely a lot through just like Black history. We actually just came from the Legacy Museum in Alabama just yesterday and just being able to see things like that. Man, I'm gonna tell you, if you haven't been yet, it is fire. But I love to be able to take moments like that people don't really understand and like really be able to give a different perspective on things so that people have new understanding, especially the youth, that they might not necessarily want to go to a museum or watch 2-hour documentaries and things, so but they'll listen to a 3-minute poem. And so I love sharing my poetry in that way. I feel like definitely a lot of my poetry is influenced by God. I'm very much a believer in Christ and just thinking about love and just thinking about how we as people need to grow. And so, you know, as a laureate, I've done a lot just um, doing stuff with students. So I've worked as an educator for 8 years, just uh, being a teaching artist. So not necessarily like a traditional teacher, but going into different schools, teaching poetry, middle schools, high schools. Really love being a mentor, man. Just being able to like share with these kids and help them come out of their spaces. And one thing I'm doing right now is actually putting poetry in theater. So I've been working on this play called Regicide, and really learning how to put that to theater. Do different spaces with it because I am an actor as well. So that's something I really enjoy, and I think fusing two passions together is something I think would be really cool. So yeah.
Oh man. So okay. I'm not, I think I probably know a little bit more about like your area, Cameron, but in your city, they don't just have a poet laureate, right? They have three laureates that work together. Is that how that goes?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they could vary. I think the times that I did it, it was like one was a dancer laureate, and it's kind of been weird. I think dancer, photographer laureate, just depends on like the different craft. It could be uh, like the drawing type artist, things like
Hmm.
that. So, yeah, so it's really interesting how they brought that together. And I was pretty much the third poet laureate to be in Murfreesboro, so it's a really new program. So yeah.
But you were a different laureate before you were poet laureate, right?
Oh
You
yeah. Uh-huh. So yeah, I was the actor laureate.
okay, okay. I thought I
Yeah.
remembered seeing that because I was like,
Yeah.
what's going on here? Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
awesome.
it was because it was interesting. I went out for poet, and they were just like, "Well, the person who is a poet laureate, they're gonna renew their spot, but we don't have anybody for performance." And so, since technically spoken word is performance, and you are
Hmm.
an actor, so that even though I had that title, I was still doing poetry all over the place.
I
And it was
love
really
that.
cool. We actually got a chance to me and Amy Whitmore was the other poet. We had a chance to create a poem that was turned into a mosaic bench out in
Wow.
Gateway Island in Murfreesboro. So it's two benches that basically encompass the idea of the poem that we created, and they actually got the poem posted. So it's cool. That's cemented. Gonna be able to bring my grandkids out there.
I love the
And
public art.
so yeah.
That makes my heart happy. Oh man. Okay, cool. So now I would love to hear some poetry if you guys are willing. Let's see. Let's go with I think let's go youngest to oldest. How's that sound, Samuel? I don't know if you're the oldest. Are you older than Charmant?
If the brother Samuel is 60 plus, he's older than me. I'm 48.
Okay, I don't want to ever guess black men's age. I tell my husband
Okay.
all the time, like black men out here killing it, making everybody mad. So I don't be knowing. I'm like, you could be 70 and look like you look because
Very true.
I don't know. So
Very
I
true.
wasn't trying to be offensive at all. If anything, it was a compliment. I was just saying, however old y'all are, go with age order. There we go. So I think Cam, unless you are over 40, you're the youngest. So
Yeah, I
you
turned
get
34 on Wednesday. So,
oh, it's a baby. I love it. All right. So you get to kick it off first for us.
all right. So I'm gonna go with the first poem that I have here in the anthology. So this poem is called Mountains. Uh, it was one that I basically just had just talking about Christians and just the black community, and just where I felt like it was. I feel like there's been a lot of animosity in Tennessee, especially in just the Nashville area. And so this poem is just kind of dedicated to that idea. I'm paralyzed because my problems are mountains that crush my spirit. I can't breathe. Neither can the dead. Mountains of black men dead. Atop, people scared to die. Atop, does it really have to be me that has to stand up and lead? Reflect the issue. Why I laugh to deflect the issue. I thought it was common for churches to be divided, trying to make God choose which color is getting into heaven, black or white. It's like having to choose between life and choice when God gave us both. It crushes me to see children of God choosing pro division, a derivative of slavery, while Martin, is on the mountaintop talking to God. Children of God are hypnotized with hypnotic and heresy, legalizing anxiety and 8-pack variety. You can't put your eyes to sleep because you need freedom. Or is that escape you're looking for? Because those are different. We got impatient, waiting for King's dream to descend the mountain. So we put gold praying hands around our neck because it's too inconvenient to use our own. Scriptures painted on the body, too busy to read it. Mouths won't speak Jesus. Oops, that's taboo. Dance around this goat we created. Worship this idol instead of the great I am, the greatest of all time. It's getting heavy because we are tripping over rocks when we got mountains to climb. But there is still time. In you and I is a new land flowing with milk and holy. It's not that we can't get from under the mountains, it's that we choose not to overlook the mountain. I get it. What good is milk for the lactose? Honey for those that only taste bittersweet. The only thing holy is the colossal sized craters in your heart. But I'm trying to keep my family alive. I know we don't get free until we're all arrived. The answers don't lie in old ways. Not forgetting the roads forged, but we can't walk as slaves, reason like slaves, traditions like slaves. As Christ frees us, it's time to walk as children of the free, putting slave-like ways behind, including unforgiveness. Moses and Martin saw glory at the mountaintop, but further faith. See God's glory below the mountain. Let the paralyzed rise, pick up their mountains and walk. Moses left a Joshua to lead a new land, but Martin left many a Joshua to lift not one, but every nation. My people, we got to fight for every right that was ever taken. Our freedom moves when we all move, every nation. Black brothers and sisters, it's time to climb to forgiveness. White brothers and sisters, it's time to climb to heal. This time, we will go to the mountaintop together. Thank you.
Wonderful. I love that mountaintop because
Thank you.
you're down there close to the mountains.
Stumble over rocks because we got mountains to climb. All right, brother, I hear you.
Yeah, that's all. I
Yeah,
like
I
that.
hear you.
Tripping
I
over
hear you.
rocks, and we got mountains to
Yeah,
climb. I love
I
that.
definitely hear you. Definitely hear you. I don't know which one to go to for mine. I don't know. Are we going to be able to do another one, or do you have another one,
Yes,
Pop?
yeah,
Oh, okay. So I
absolutely.
can.
So just go where you feel. Go where you feel.
Okay. Um, this is a shorter one. In case you didn't know, being a father, a daddy, however you want to describe this journey, didn't come with instruction. The compass guiding me on this path was that of love. As your mother held you under her heart, I held you within mine. Every heartbeat I heard changed the trajectory of my blood flow. My heart no longer beat for my survival. I survived only for you. I don't hurt for what may happen to me. I hurt for what may happen to you. I don't pray for me. I pray for you. I mean, I prayed for you. You were the first thing I ever asked God for. Not the immaculate conception, but your conception was immaculate. It was the purest and most cleanest thing I've ever done. See, I planned for your arrival. The first 10 years of your education was paid for before your feet ever touched the floor. Taught you everything I knew about history so you can create your story. Taught you to speak your mind, but never mind what others speak about you. Never suffocate yourself, baby, so other people can breathe. If you didn't know, my life goal was only to protect you, be your protector. Even if you did wrong, they better chalk it up to life lessons and never lay a hand on you. See, this sentiment will stretch a lifetime as your beautiful, youthful skin extends into a beautiful woman until you say, I love him, and it holds true for someone other than me. I hope you understand that I love you, precious, no pressure. You are the most beautiful diamond in me. And this doesn't mean that I want your heart to harden, but I want no one to wear you like costume jewelry. You don't deserve to be tarnished or broken. You deserve to be happy, for whatever that may mean for you. I want you to have the imagination of imagine aging prosperously with the perspective of passing it on to your beautiful babies, hoping, just hoping that some of me rubs off, imprinting memories that spring smiles across your face. So your path through life will be adorned with the memories that my daddy always has and always will. Love.
Absolutely beautiful,
Hey,
coming
that was powerful.
from a daddy's girl. Love it. Absolutely love it. All right, Mr. Rain.
The title of this poem is This Must End, from my new project that's coming out, which is called If Life Were a Movie, and it's a part of the Dark Man Blues series. I've looked back at the past. This could not be me. So broken, sad are the memories. Black lives the same. Once postcard painted pictures, photos hung from trees. They look like today caught on live TV. This must be a movie. We always die in the movies. It can't be dead and buried, hashtag my name. I'm about to be this sin when the killing starts. See how it ends?
Hey man, you got a cool voice for like narration for real though. Like
Thank you.
Yes, I love that.
A, ment- a, men- a mentor of mine always told me, um, you know what a great poem is when you don't know when to applaud. That was fire.
Thank you.
hey man, you got a cool voice for like narration. That jam was fire.
All right. Oh my goodness. Oh, you guys are just amazing. So, okay, so I have to share because I've been doing some reading and studying. Um and since I have you here, I think it could be a good thing to talk about. So, and because Sharma kind of broached the parent conversation. So, apparently male children leave their DNA with their mother for 27 years at least. And so there's this mother-son connection that just cannot be broken. um, I'm interested to know, like, how that connection or lack thereof has played out in your life, whether you have children of your own or whether you see that, like, in your loved ones, and you see that connection coming into play. Um, how do you feel like, what does that statistic or piece of information do? Like, where does it send you, make you think about?
It makes me reflect on my own relationship with my mom itself. My mother had me when she was 20 and change. We went through a lot of stuff early. She was an alcoholic and so forth and so on. But I take care of my mom um, in disregard of myself. Um, Whether it's finances, whatever it is. If my mom needs me, if she needs something, I'm always there. My bond with my mom is special. Um, so I mean, even me being a nurse, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna look up these statistics that you just referenced to dive deeper into them a little bit. It's just even as a poet, as a nurse, that's just my thing, research. But yeah, me and my mom's bond is real tight. To be honest with you, she's downstairs right now. We have Sunday dinner at my house, but she's too old to cook and stuff now. So I'm the matriarch that has things at my house. My mom's literally downstairs waiting for me to come downstairs now.
Yeah, I can see that being a bond of DNA that's passed from one person to another and holding it for, you say 28 years? That's a long time. I think it goes beyond 28 years. It could be actually for life, especially when it comes to sons and mothers. That's a different thing, because they have that
Yeah.
bond that's a little bit closer. Because the mother's always going to love her child. So that's never going to go away. So, and she has a son, she's going to love him even more so. So I can see that.
I, it just was really interesting to me. I have two boys. Um, and like it's, I feel like when they're feeling things, it's like I literally feel it. So, and that's what led me down this rabbit hole to try and figure this out. Like if one of my sons feels hurt, it's almost as if like it's literally happening to me. And I was like, what is this bond between this mother and son that if somebody says something to hurt their feelings, it's like they said it to hurt my feelings. And I wanted to know. And I had seen it somewhere on social media years about a year or so ago, and they were just saying, so fathers, be careful how you talk to your sons because your wife feels like you're talking to them. So like if you're really, really harsh with your boys, your wife takes that almost as if you're talking to them harshly. And
So
so to
I
be
think that
careful
which one of them is the MB?
is what?
The MB, Mama's
What?
boy.
Oh, both of them. Like both of them, they both lie like on either side of me. I got a 13-year-old and an 11-year-old. And if I say come down, I got one on one side. They squeeze between me and their dad, and they're just mama's boys. Both of them are.
we are, we are. I think that reigns still true on the opposite side of that with daughters because I have two
Hmm.
girls, and my girls are the same way. If I'm not around, oh hey mom, where daddy at? I get a phone call. Like I said, I'm a traveling nurse, so I get a phone call. Daddy, you're not home yet. What's going on? What you doing? I get the third degree, or when I'm around, they want to be right next to me.
Hmm.
They'll sit in my chair when I'm not there, or whatever. So I notice these little things too between fathers and daughters.
Yeah, and I wonder why that is. I write a lot about the relationship that I had with my dad. My dad has transitioned 28 years ago, and so I was 18 years old when he passed. But I still, that connection is still very much there. And when people talk to me, I said like he's the best friend I ever had, and 28 years later, I still say that. So. Yeah, that bond is just interesting. It's just interesting. That wasn't on my list of questions, but it was on my mind. So I decided to talk about it while I'm talking to three male poets. All right, y'all. Let me see. What else? What else I got here? Oh, Cameron, you didn't say anything. Did you have a response?
Yeah, I don't know. My space bar ain't doing what it's supposed to be doing. But yeah, I was gonna say, I don't have kids yet, but I think definitely about my relationship. And it's interesting that you mentioned that age. I think I was a few months from turning 27 when I got married. So I think
Wow.
it's pretty cool. And I always think about just transition wise. I feel like I had the right amount of time being single and
Hmm.
also just the right amount of time of, being nourished and nurtured by my mother. Of course, I left home around 17, 18, but just having that transition of this woman in my life to the next. And my
Mm.
mother's still here, but I feel like it's just been such good nourishment coming along the way and such a healthy relationship that, I'm excited for when I do have kids, what
Mhm.
that would be like. And, it's really cool to know that. So, yeah, I very much love my mother. And, we have a great, great relationship, great bond. So,
What's
I know.
crazy is that I'm sorry. What's crazy is that you mentioned this about mothers. And one of the poems I was going through a collection of poems that I wanted to do, whether it was spoken word format or other. And one of them was a poem that's called "God to Me," and it's about my mother. It was funny when that came up. So that's crazy.
Yeah. I know. My oldest son and I share a birthday. So not just is he a mama's boy, like we were born on the same day. And so like our bond is weird. I'll say that because I see myself in him so much. So we irritate each other, but we can't be apart. Like he's my ride or die. If I'm leaving the house, he's right on my hip. Like, you gotta go, Ma, I'm going to. But we get on each other's nerves because we're so much alike. It's a fun little dynamic there. Let's see. Okay, so as a Black poet laureate, I do want to talk about like that historical impact. So what, and it's crazy, I think I was reading a book and he said, all being the first Black means is we held you off this much longer. Um, and I was like, I never looked at it like that because he was like, it's a shame, that we're still having first Black somebody doing something. He said, it's just a sign that we held you off for long enough and now we'll allow. But I do want to know, like, what is your, and it's funny that Cam said something about history, but what do you think about this historical impact of you as a poet laureate and just the contemporary Black poetry right now?
I can I can share. Honestly, I just feel like I say, being at the Legacy Museum and just seeing how much a lot of people held us back, I'm just like, it's frustrating. It's really frustrating to see the details of just like how sinister people can be. Like, and just knowing that there are people in this world that have these mindsets. So it's like really sitting around like, man, let me figure out how much worse I can make this group of people suffer or live. And but I'm also grateful that we're born in a time such as this. I feel like right now is a great time for us to really be able to like be in the spaces that we're in and really rise up and do things because I think it's great that the cool thing is that Black people have been doing things for a long time. So it's not like we're just the first in every area, but I think it's the fact that like I'm grateful that there's so many of us that are still creating first. There are still ways that we're passing on the torch, but also creating new ones. And so I just really appreciate that. And I know like it don't matter how late in the game we start, man, the flame is about to really blow up. So I'm just excited. Yeah. And if I could add one more thing, I think the thing that for me too is, knowing that like only 2% of educators are Black men and being able to go into the schools and being able to like really help a lot of students today, you know, I'm grateful that we're able to reach them. It's not just like, I don't know, I'm not as worried about time as far as like back then. I'm like, we still here right now. And to know that like, man, slavery just ended just a little over 100 years ago. Like my grandmother's 92. So, you know what I'm saying? She was alive around 33, which was like well before segregation ended. So like think just like this stuff wasn't that long ago. It's just like, man, the timing is just perfect to me. So yeah.
Yeah, so like being born in the 50s and growing up in the 60s and the 70s and um, just seeing how life was then and how it is now. The time has changed, but things are still the same because a lot of people have their eyes open, but their minds are not open. And so, how you see you're a young educator, and I don't know if they're banning books in your city or your schools or in the
Yeah. I'm in that.
libraries, and
They
then
banned
the
a
kids
lot.
don't know what history is, but to actually grow up in it and see it firsthand. That's how I. It's a reflection of some of the poetry that I write and share. It's in there for people to read, for people to hear. So when I do share a poem that I'm speaking of the past, I'm also speaking of the present and a possible future. So uh, I definitely, and being in the community and being the first poet laureate of color, Black, whatever they want to call us now. We have so many different names. I don't use any of them, but and to be in a community where my community is only 6.2% in the city that I live. So getting that support, I want to reach out to everyone in my community, not just people of color. So it's like when I'm performing, most of my audience is like 80 to 90% Caucasian or white, you know. So, but I give it to them. I let them have it because it's the truth. So I'm gonna continue to do my thing. So, and I'm gonna write and share what I believe, what I've seen, what I grew up with. So that is my truth. And as a poet, I say in one of my poems, poets speak truth to justice because it's just us telling it without deleted scenes. So that's what we do.
I love that line. Speaking truth to justice. I love that. That's exactly what we do. Armand?
Um, for me, it was it was shocking for me because I'm in New Haven, Connecticut, the home of Yale University. So, given the fact that they gave it to a young black boy from the projects on Franklin Street, um, no huge literary degree, self-taught poetry, taught poetry through my father, who was uh, a Mason and a 5%er. Um, he It was surprising to me. And then looking at poetry today and how I'm in love with it because there's so many different forms that reflect the times today in different factions of what we're going through as people. Just like Mr. Samuel, one of my goals is to bridge the gap. And one of the ways I do that, where I differ from Mr. Samuels, is the fact that I try to let people understand that in today's society, spoken word poetry is poetry in itself. As I explained to pretty much all white audience in this white town I perform to, spoken word poetry period, is like going to school to be a doctor. You go to school and you study the entire body. You study what glosas, sonnets, haikus, shinrus. You study the whole body of poetry. And spoken word is the foundation, the bottom of that, which is free writing, which is the ability to just open up your soul and pour it onto paper. And then you have to be able to take the tools of poetry, the metaphors, the similes, the double entendres, and you create and you paint this beautiful picture. And then you have the ability to use your body to express that poetry. So I try to fuse that, and also fusing that allows white folks to not feel so threatened to think it's just a Black art form. My city is very segregated when it comes to poetry. You have your spoken word, and then you have your page poets. But now being poet laureate, I'm being invited into these page spaces, and they're seeing that my intellect of poetry. They're like, oh, they're not just writing anything down and jumping across stages. They actually know what this art really is. So and it's a beautiful thing to see it um, come together the way it has.
That was great to hear that that story. I appreciate that.
Yeah, me too. Because I think that, a lot of times, and much like you, I was the first spoken word artist that was a poet laureate in my city. I was the third in the city. And the two before me, one of them is one of my mentors, and she can read her poetry beautifully, but she wouldn't classify herself as a spoken word artist. She's, academic. She was a professor at the university for years and years. And when I first started writing poetry, she was my professor when I was like 19 years old. So coming along, I had to explain, and I still find myself explaining. I write everything that I say, right? I don't just stand up there and rant and rave. Like I go through that same process as you. I just know how to convert it from the page to the stage. And
Yeah.
I'm a member of the Writers Guild and on the board of directors. And at one of our board of directors meeting, one of the poets said to me, "But what Rhea does is different. It's spoken word." And I was like, "No, it's not.
It's not different.
It's
No.
not different. I just speak it. Like this, there's no difference there." And I found myself, educating and like Sharmant said, is just finding that space to educate so that they understand this is not just a category for Black and Brown poets. This is a category for everybody. I love
Man,
that.
I can't tell you how many times. So I create influence. I have a company called Influence Life LLC, and it's a multifaceted company. But one of the things that I do is I write curriculums for schools. As I said, I'm a nurse, but I was a psych nurse for 10 years. So I write curriculums for schools based on social emotional learning, with the foundation of using poetry as a caveat to connect kids with their emotions. The people who have the most money to be able to afford me are the suburban white schools. So I go in there, and you can't believe how many white children that I connect to, teaching them how to do spoken word, getting breakthroughs with them to where their therapists and their psychologists are calling me saying, "How did you get them to talk about these things?" This art form called poetry. And to your point about your professor, a lot of people don't a lot of poets don't want to associate themselves as spoken word artists because it blocks you financially. For years, spoken word artists were not allowed in academia, allowed to be teaching artists, not allowed to really perform into colleges in different spaces. So therefore, we had to try to recategorize ourselves as just poets and then try to blend it in. Now, since spoken word has been the cool thing for people to try to do, and accomplished. And now, since mainstream America now has put it on TV in different places, it's now become acceptable in academia for us to now go in and teach and become professors and stuff like that. Um, I have after school programs and different things asking me to be on the board for or either be one of their teaching artists. But for me, what blocks me, it still blocks me. So they're about to get all of me. I've got to go back to school to get a teaching degree because although they can't do what I can do, I don't have that piece of paper they have. So certain things they block me out of, right? As bad as the administration want me there, because I don't have that degree, they block me out. So I just got to go get the piece of paper. Okay. It is what it is. But yeah, a lot of times we get blocked because of the label.
I think that, I've been writing since high school, and then I had periods where I didn't write. But for the last 20 years, I've been writing. And so I said to myself, I don't want to go back to school simply because I don't want to take all of those other classes that are unnecessary for me writing poetry. Let me just learn about poetry, read the masters, read the and just all the different things that you could do with poetry. And that's when I decided I didn't want to write any of that. I wanted to develop my own style of writing, and they can call it whatever they want to call it. They say it's free verse, but it is something that people would love to probably duplicate. But I over the past 20 years, my whole mission every year was to get better, and I worked hard to make myself better, to become a better writer. So when you've been writing for 20 years, and I've published 22 books, I've written over 45 books, and so I'm gonna continue writing because I was gonna retire, and then I wrote this book with a young man out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and so I'm gonna keep writing because I was about ready to just say I'm tired, I'm gonna stop, and so I'm gonna continue writing, and my goal is to get up to 50 books, and then all of them I want to be published sometime if not in my lifetime after I'm gone, so that legacy will still be there, so people will remember and still be reading Samuel Rain Benjamin.
Uh, I'm always
That's
astonished when you say that you've been doing it 20 years and have published 22 books. Like, I'm always like, I gotta work harder.
true.
That's every
That's
time you say
crazy.
that, that's all I'm thinking is like, golly, I gotta work harder. I gotta work harder. So, yeah, no, that's amazing. All right, gentlemen, can we hear another poem? And we'll do it in reverse order this time. So Samuel, you get to go first.
All right, so here's another piece from Dark Man Blues, If Life Were a Movie. It's a little bit longer, it's a 3-part poem, and it starts off with Repeat Me. There are 8 billion holes in this celestial body. This is just one of them pouring out, speaking this truth. When they come for me, they'll be dead men walking. No longer will I be a clone of my father and his father's past, hung from trees, then stressed from the thought after civil rights gave them the right to kill me differently. To be shot dead in these streets, live on TV, seeing the world still blind to the unwritten history. 65 masked into 65, 100 years of nothing, just say, can you see? And you wonder why this must end. My freedom taken from the motherland, like a catalog on display in a picnic. This Negro black, let's call him African American now. Shackle him with a new name. Please, none of these are me. 400 years of lost identity. The pain of my freedom, the crimes laid down point at me after you send gunshots and drugs into my hood telling me I own these streets until you take them from me. Target be the game played. Another one of me dead, brainwashed in a soup called nonsense. I got you, them rules on paper, all lies. Now who's the victim? Living in a world of changing times. These are the stories that need to be told. No more illusions of the black one from the other side of the sun. You cannot run a gun unless you can boat like Usain. Track star, run, nigga, run. Hands up, shot dead. On the ground, in the back of the head. Lively yourselves. They've been trying to break you. It's no mystery on the pain of my sorrow. It's time to give some. Stop. Listen. Hear these thoughts. The silent voices on the wind echo their shame. You wonder why I got guns. This won't be an insurrection. We're not the ones. Dark Man Blues. Thank you.
Yo, that was fire.
Yes, it was.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I love that. You
Man.
can't outrun
Thank you.
bullets unless you sing.
Yeah,
That's,
that line, that was
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. That's awesome. Love
That's
that.
great.
All
I guess
right.
I'm up next. It looks like I'm in the middle, huh?
Yes,
So,
sir.
Speak poet.
okay. Uh, Black boy. Let's see. I had a conversation with a black boy the other day, gunshot victim. He asked, "What makes a black man be a nurse?" I told him the last line of the nursing pledge reads, "I dedicate myself to the devoted services of human welfare." Well, I guess you black boys are the only humans because your welfare seems to be the only ones at risk. As a nurse, I've seen more black boys die in hospital beds than I care to count. Have heard mothers scream, "God help me," with the white voice in the room saying, "I did all I could." Do you know what a street beef smells like? It smells like the hot slugs cooking in a black boy's chest. Because I'm from a city that knocks down projects because the rubble makes better battlegrounds, turning black boys into green berets, playing in concrete jungles, moving like renegade soldiers, fighting for the big piece of poverty. Call it black on black civil war. Call it ethnic suicide. But black boy, you ain't no soldier. I've seen how you die. Tears running, fists clenched in fear, body quivering like mama's little baby. I've seen bullets pull from your ribs the way food is pulled from your teeth. Black boy, how can you digest death but you can't chew life? There's no honor in how you die. Body broken like bread, hands baptized in your blood. I've seen your purple heart on chill like the devil's coming for dinner. Black boy, don't you know what your blood looks like on white sheets? It looks like emasculation, mental conditioning. It looks looks like extermination. It looks like your blood knows how to die. Like mama stretched across caskets like American flags, folding herself into fetal triangles, delivering her tears to pillows, realizing she won't hang any more spangled banners for her stars. It's like my nursing degree has become a one-way ticket to watch you die, choking on bloody bullets over and over and over again. It has to be a sin. Black boy, it has to be a sin that you learn how to pull 9 millimeters before you can even pull a 900 on your SATs. That I learned how to pull bullet fragments before I learned how to pull splinters. Black boy, we don't need no more GI bills. Aren't you tired of depositing bullets into your GI, gastrointestinal tract, taking gut shots? Don't you know the devil's a glutton for a black boy's flesh? Because your flesh be beautiful, your flesh be sacred, melanated Morse code, your flesh be fuck failure. Black boy, you ask what makes a black man be a nurse? I say when the overflow of self-hatred and blood tsunamis the emergency room, when hospital beds, gauze, and sutures no longer keep the damned from leaking. I say you, black boy, I became a nurse hoping my hands will be your Teflon second chance. Because the only shots I ever want you to take are the ones at greatness.
Wow.
Oh, that's
Wow.
man.
So powerful. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
y'all some poets.
All right, Mr. Mitchell.
All right. So I'm gonna share this one. Um, so I'm gonna share this poem. Another thing I'm really much about mental health and whatnot. So this poem is dedicated to my grandfather who passed away due to Alzheimer's in 2013. Um, he's not in the poem, but dedicated to him. And so this is a way to reimagine things in a way. So when I met you, I forgot everything. Soft breeze, silver skies, all oceaning in around me. The thought of your warm fingers sent tremors. Vibrato vibrating, stretch marks down my spine like, you had me, who are you? Must be an illusion because I swear I remember you from somewhere. Poetry walking towards me. Simile swinging in her hips like onomatopoeia. Her hair curled me into alliteration. I forgot my name. Staring at the stars, she said, I know who you are, silly boy. When she shrugged it off, I remembered to breathe, but when she smiled, it felt like natural oils erasing dry moments of loneliness. And then I did something unusual. I relaxed. Her hand started uttering allusions to something important, the red pill or the blue pill. What? I said, she said, do you like the red dress or the blue dress? Yo, I'm tripping. What are you thinking about? She asked. I want to tell her, I see her lips aligning mine like stars and planets that align the cosmos. I want to cradle you in my arms like meteors that collide into planets, planets that become comets, comets that become, I commit to loving you like you're the clock and I'm the hands, we time and space. But all I could say is, I'm sorry, who are you? She rolled her eyes a little annoyed and said, I'm your girl, silly boy. But yo, didn't we just meet? She said, yeah, if you mean like a year ago. Oh, snap. And she was serious because I started seeing her everywhere after work, after church, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and all that jazz. I was happy to have her, especially on the days when I tried to remember what happened yesterday or, a few weeks ago. But her cocoa butter hands would batter my bruised memories into It's Okay peanut butter cookies. And when my insecurities tried to flip to my lighter skinned side, she would take my hand and say, I like a little dark around the edges. You were always so forgetful when we first met. She laughed. What do you mean? We kind of did just meet. She said, yeah, if you mean like 50 years ago. Mesmerized, I looked at her. Her cocoa butter hands were weighed down with wisdom. You can tell she keeps her head in the clouds because now they're nesting on her. She noticed I hadn't answered yet. You don't remember anything, do you? I'm forgetful. I can't seem to remember you blossoming towards me that first day. I can't remember your eyes shooting across my face as I made wishes. I can't even remember the good old days or the bad ones, because when I look at you, I say this girl is a state trooper super ticket. That's a thick fine that you're not getting out of. You turn this Alzheimer's disease into a gift because when you smile, it felt like a piece of ice melting down my throat after inhaling smoke, dissolving any insecurity and my mind being inadequate. It's only two times I forgot to breathe: when I got asthma and when I got you. She said it took you 50 years to say that. I said, 50 years, I'm sorry. Who are you? Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Yes, yes. Oh man. That
Nice,
that
bro.
yeah, that felt good. It felt like love. I love that. That was beautiful. Um, so we almost at the end of our little hour, gentlemen. Thank you, first of all, so much for spending some time with me today. I always love being able to have these conversations. And now I got new friends in Connecticut and a little lower in Tennessee and all the way out in Cali. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'll be in Long Beach in 2025. So might have to see if we can't do a show together out there, Mr. Rain. How far are you from Long Beach? Uh-oh, you muted. You muted.
Muted.
Unmute yourself.
No, you come to California in 2025. I will have features for you when you come to California. No problem.
Hey,
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love traveling. And Cameron, I will be in the Nashville area in 2 weeks. So I'll be down
Oh,
there
snap.
September 15th through the 17th. So
Well, come on
absolutely.
through. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So let me know if there's anything happening. I'm coming for an educational conference, but I always love to get in some poetry everywhere I go. So
How's the
yeah,
poetry scene down there in Tennessee?
Um,
for us,
Hmm.
I'm in Knoxville, well, outside of
Okay.
Knoxville, and it's great. We'll be
yeah.
hosting Southern Fried again. We
I'll be
host.
there.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
yay! Well,
My-
then I'll see you. We'll meet face to
yeah.
face in 2025. So
Yep.
yeah,
My team is Verbal Slap. We were there this year too, in Washington, Florida. Yeah.
yeah. So we were supposed to go to Louisiana, but I guess some stuff happened that didn't, that kind of fell through. So they're coming back to Knoxville, and they were in Knoxville last year. Was it last year, 2023? Yeah. So it was the last year of my laureate. And so my gift to the city was Southern Fried. So we brought Southern Fried here. We had like 28 teams. Um, it was fantastic. And so now coming back again because Black Atticus is the poet laureate of Knoxville now. So it'll be
Oh,
his
I see. Yeah.
farewell to the city at the end of
Hmm.
his laureateship too. So
See, I haven't been on the website. I didn't know the Louisiana got changed, so this is the first time here. So now I gotta go search on that and see and get
look,
ready.
I hope I didn't say it too early. Don't. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It's out there now.
There
Yeah, I
was
Yeah.
a
finished. I
poetry
finished.
spot in
Yeah,
Connecticut
Nashville
that
is
was doing a
pretty
Zoom,
well.
no, not a Zoom, but an Instagram show um, during the pandemic, and I said, "Oh, I want to go to that spot when the pandemic's over." But I don't remember the name of it, but I think it
It,
was a
it
dope.
probably was. It probably was mine. It's probably Poet's Round.
And you were broadcasting during the pandemic on IG. Yeah,
Yes.
it was a dope show. I used to sit there and watch the whole show while it was on, and I probably was following you then because I followed the show at least, because I said, oh,
Mm.
I want to go to Connecticut. So I'm still wanting to go to Connecticut.
What was the show?
Well, so I host a couple, but in Bridgeport, Connecticut, I host a venue called Poets Round. That's one of the
That's
longest
it.
running
That's
spoken
it.
word, yeah,
Yeah.
spoken word venues. We've been going for about 18 years.
Wow.
But
Poetry
yeah, so
Room.
we
Yeah.
so we actually have two. We have one in Florida too, because the originator, the the one who started it now moved to Florida, so I run the one in Connecticut.
Yep, I definitely follow that Poets Rim. Yeah, definitely. I was looking for it. I did say it was in Florida as well. I'm like, I've got to hit both those spots.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll talk about it. Most definitely.
Ah,
Definitely
that's so
would love to
awesome.
travel out and meet all of y'all as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Cam. Oh,
probably
and Cam will be up this way in
yeah.
February. Is it February? I don't think it's February.
Oh, for the conference April.
It's April. Okay. See,
Uh-huh.
that's bad. I'm on a
Yeah.
board. I don't know what's going on.
It's all good. Hey, I got it. I got it. They locked in.
Hey, I almost quit the
I
board.
haven't been to Cali or Connecticut either, so I definitely gotta make a trip. Cali on my list to visit next.
Right. You and your wife did a tour though, right?
Yeah, yeah. We did a went overseas. We went to Japan, Tanzania, and Germany.
That's
Nice.
Wow.
So
That's
yeah,
super
that's
dope.
fire.
pretty amazing.
That's fire. I like that.
So,
He said he's trying to take over the world with poetry, y'all.
There you
listen,
go. There you go. Keep that
So,
mission. Keep that mission.
yeah.
last question. As one, a teacher, so I'm a teaching artist in Tennessee, but I'm also a math teacher. So I was in the classroom for 16 years. Um, at this point in my career, I teach math teachers how to be great math teachers. So that's what I do. But what I found is that it was always really hard, and it's always been hard to get young Black boys to write poetry. So, how would you advise a young Black boy um, to get into this world of poetry and what it can do for them? Like, what has it done for you? So, like, what's that testimony that you would share?
I would tell you that you take them to an open mic and you let them see what's happening. You show them what's happening. I took my son for the first time to an open mic and I had him film me. And I could see him just smiling and he was like, Dad, you're dope. I'm like, okay, so now you know you could be that too. So my son is a poet, he's a screenwriter. So I would say take those young men to an open mic and let them experience that. Because poetry is it's so much deeper than anything else that you could possibly do. I mean, you could be a rapper or MC, but being a poet, it's a whole different journey.
I agree. So I do this on a regular basis. The first thing I tell people or teaching artists, other people, you have to meet the young men where they are. Because unfortunately, most of our young men have different educational levels and understanding of concepts of writing. A lot of times they're scared to write because they're scared of their spelling and things of that nature. So I help them from that standpoint, but um, a lot of them want to be inspired rappers. So I give them the history of spoken word and talk about Gil Scott Heron, and I talk about the last poets, and Abi O'Doon is one of my mentors and stuff like that. So I talk to them and bring that aspect to them. And then being the fact that I'm so public, I run a number of open mics. Like you said, Mr. Samuel, they come to the open mics and they're like, wait, there's an environment that I could be safe in, that I could be myself, that you know what I'm saying? I mean, you can't come in no poetry then you're being no thug. You look like an idiot, you know? So, it's a new world for them. So that being said, that's how I engaged him. What it's done for me, it's transformed my life completely. I was a product of my city. I've been in the streets. I've done A, B, C, and D. Um, and poetry literally saved my life in so many different ways. You know, I would never have a company. I would never have a clothing line. I would never have uh, anything that I'm doing. I'm the poet laureate. I would never have none of this. I owe poetry way more than poetry ever owes me.
That's real. Um, Man, I would say I think definitely influence because I think about like honestly growing up, I did not like poetry at all. Like I couldn't even hear it. Like people would share poetry, I couldn't even hear poetry that well. Like listening to like I could hear rap all day, but I couldn't hear a poet. And I think it was just the fact of like seeing people on my campus share poetry, and I heard a person spit this poem, and it was spoken word, and I was just like, yo, what is this? And I was going through a lot of things internally, just an expression, and it was the first time I was just like, yo, this might be something really cool for me to learn how to express for myself. And so, when I go into the schools, I try to be that influence for them, because I think a lot of people, especially a lot of Black men, just don't see a way for that to be an idea for them. Like, they want to be the rappers and the basketball players because that's where Black men are, and that's where they're thriving, and that's where people like them. You know what I'm saying? So I try to go into the classroom and be something that would be inspirational to them. Like, yo, what is this? Who is this guy? Like, this is cool. Like, really be something inspiring to them. And so hopefully I'm hoping in those moments that I can inspire them, but also show them how to be vulnerable, so that they can be like, yo, it's actually okay to like be vulnerable, but also like he's doing something that's really cool. Like, I can see myself doing that. So that's usually what that motivates me, and I push for that. So yeah.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Terry Carter, for joining us.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I'm late. I had guests over a little bit earlier, and trying to shut folks down gracefully is difficult sometimes. But Cam, I feel you on everything that I heard you say. I think it's wonderful. I think that aspect and that opportunity that you've taken, really says that you got it. You saw it and you got it.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Oh well.
And Terry, you're up there a little closer to Charmont than the rest of us, because you're in Massachusetts.
Yes.
And I'm not great at geography, but I do know that they're both way up north on the East Coast.
Where Charmont, where are you at?
I'm in New Haven. I'm in Mass all the time. I mean, Warrior, and the family at the Lizards Lounge is my peoples.
Okay.
And everything. So I'm up in Boston and Mass, up in Providence and stuff like that all the time. So yeah, those are family.
We should figure out a way to hook up and maybe do something together then.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Very good. Very good.
Wonderful. I'm so glad that you guys joined today. We're going to keep connecting. We're going to keep growing. If you are not a member of the National Black Poet Laureate Society, I would encourage you to become a member. We are in the process of growing, doing the not-for-profit, applying for grant funds, so that when Black Poet Laureates want to do programs all across the country, there's funds there, and we're not like having to beg anybody for that. So that's our goal, is to really solidify the history that we're making as Black Poet Laureates all over the country. So if you're not a member yet, please become one. If you are a member, share it with the other BPLs that you know, so that we can at least meet our goal of 25. I would love to be over 25, because then that just gives us surplus. 25 is like bare minimum for us to meet all of our budgeting needs for a year. So that being said, gentlemen, it has been a wonderful pleasure being able to hear your poems and your wisdom. Thank you so much for sharing with me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As always.
Definitely nice meeting all y'all. And hey, I definitely want to keep all y'all contact. Here, I got yours. So I definitely want to.
Bet.
Yes. So
thanks, Mayor Sunshine. You always bring it.
We're
sorry
trying.
I didn't get all of it, because I know it must have been mighty nice,
Hey, but you know what? You can always go back and watch it.
You
can always go back and watch.
Mr. Rain is a beast. I know that for a fact.
Well, you can definitely always go back and watch.
Will do.
Share the link with your people and tell them to go watch, because it was great poems, great conversation, great poets doing great things. So thank you all, and I'll see you next month.
Peace.
All right.
Peace.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.